Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Would somebody like to read?
I can read today.
Yes, please.
Whoever engages in the devotional service of the Lord in full Krishna consciousness becomes freed of all the debts to the sages, demigods, and forefathers, to whom everyone is generally indebted. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.41. Divashi bhutapta nirnam pitranam na kinkaro nayam vinecha rajan sarvatmana ya sharanam sharanyam gato mukandam parihritya kartam. Whoever fully engages himself in the service of the Lord, O King, giving up all other duties, is no longer indebted to the demigods, the sages, other living entities, his relatives, the forefathers, or any man. Every man, just after his birth, is at once indebted to all the above mentioned personalities, and one is expected to discharge many kinds of ritualistic functions because of this indebtedness. But a person who is fully surrendered unto Krishna has no obligation. He becomes free from all debts.
Yeah, so this is the speciality of devotional service. One engages in pure devotional service, completely surrendered to Krishna. Because we do have these debts, no, after all, to the demigods, we have to the earth, for example, to our parents, to our ancestors, so many debts, to the other living entities who are maintaining us. But one who is a pure devotee, he has no debt at all. So we may think, oh, I began chanting Hare Krishna, so then I'm on that same platform. No, but we still have to do our duties because we are not yet fully surrendered, right? But we continue to hear and chant, and whatever duties we need to do, we do that.
It should be carefully noted, however, that when a person gives up all other duties and simply takes to transcendental service of Krishna, he has no material desire and is not apt to perform sinful activities. If, however, he performs sinful activities, not willfully but by chance, Krishna gives him all protection. It is not necessary for him to purify himself by any other method, and this is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.42. A devotee who is fully engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord is protected by the Supreme Person. But in case such a devotee unintentionally commits some sinful activity or is obliged to act sinfully under certain circumstances, God, situated within his heart, gives him all protection.
So this is for accidental fall down, not that somebody says, okay, I'm going to chant and I'm going to engage in sinful activity, so it neutralizes. So the effects are not going to be there. No. No, this is accidental fall down where pure devotee accidentally commits some sin. But what he has to do, there's no need to do any other prayers, church ceremony or anything. But simply engage in devotional service. That's it. That's what our pure devotional service is. Other processes, we have to do some prayers, church, some, part puja or dan punya before you can do something, but not devotional service. Devotional service does not require any previous qualification, no prayers, chat, no, nothing. One simply begins hearing and chanting, and one engages in devotional service.
The processes of speculative knowledge and renunciation are not cheap items for elevation in devotional service. One does not have to take up to the principles of non-violence and sense control, although there are rules and regulations for acquiring these qualities in the other processes. Without even practicing these processes, a devotee develops all good qualities simply by discharging devotional service to the Lord. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11.20.31, the Lord Himself says that there is no necessity of cultivating speculative knowledge and renunciation if one is actually engaged in the devotional service of the Lord.
Yeah, so just engaging in devotional service, we will automatically get all knowledge. Automatically, we will get detachment from the world by engaging in devotional service. We don't have to separately endeavor for these things. No separate endeavor is needed.
Out of sheer misunderstanding, some transcendentalists think that knowledge and renunciation are necessary for rising to platform of devotional service. This is not so. The cultivation of knowledge and the renunciation of fruitive activities may be necessary for understanding one's spiritual existence in relation to the material conception of life, but they are not part and parcel of devotional service. The results of knowledge and fruitive activities are liberation and material sense gratification, respectively. Therefore, they cannot be part and parcel of devotional service. Rather, they have no intrinsic value in the discharge of devotional service. One who is freed from bondage to the results of knowledge and fruitive activities can be situated in devotional service. Since a devotee of Lord Krishna is by nature non-violent, and since his mind and senses are controlled, he does not have to make a special effort to acquire the good qualities which result from cultivating knowledge and performing fruitive activities.
Yeah, so just engaging in devotional service. Some people think, no, I have to do something, then only I will be engaging, then only I can become fit to engage in devotional service. No, that's not. One just just begin devotional service. And we will get all that is needed, all the knowledge, all the detachment, all renunciation that is needed, we can get. Okay. And all the good qualities. A pure devotee, he automatically has all the good qualities, which he would get if he were to perform other processes of knowledge or meditation or anything else. He has all the qualities of the demigods.
When Uddhava was questioning Krishna about the rules and regulations according to Vedic injunctions, he asked, why is it that Vedic hymns encourage one in material enjoyment, while at the same time the Vedic instructions also free one from all illusions and encourage one towards liberation? The Vedic rules are said to be ordained by Supreme Personality of Godhead, but apparently there are contradictions. And Uddhava was anxious to know how one could resolve these contradictions. In reply, Lord Krishna cited the verse mentioned above, Srimad Bhagavatam 11.20.31, informing him of super excellence of devotional service. For one who is already engaged in devotional service to me and whose mind is fixed on me, it is neither practical nor necessary to cultivate knowledge and renunciation.
So, Uddhav is asking Krishna. Because sometimes the Vedic hymns can be distracting. They could be also distracting. Why? Because then they might attract us or to go to the heavenly planets, have a long life, enjoy a lot. So, but Krishna is saying you just take up devotional service. There's no need of doing anything separately. So again and again, the point is being repeated. Lord Chaitanya is again and again repeating that once one engages in devotional service, there is no need to do anything else. Hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, praying. This is enough to go back home, back to Godhead. Or rather, this is the only way one can go back home, back to Godhead. As we read, the devotional service is the only way that one can reach the spiritual kingdom, and no other process is required.
Thus, the Lord's conclusion is that devotional service is independent of any other process. The cultivation of knowledge, renunciation, or meditation may be a little helpful in the beginning, but they cannot be considered necessary for discharging devotional service. In other words, devotional service can be discharged independently of the cultivation of knowledge and renunciation. In this regard, there is also a verse from Skanda Purana in which Narad Muni tells a hunter tribesman, O hunter, the qualifications you have just now acquired, such as non-violence and others, are not astonishing, because one who is engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Lord cannot be a source of trouble for anyone under any circumstance.
So this is another point. If we want to develop good qualities, then simply by engaging in devotional service, we can get all good qualities. Narad Muni is speaking to a hunter. Now, hunter means he's killing, he's being violent. And then Narad Muni is saying, now you have become non-violent. Why? Because you're engaging in devotional service. A devotee cannot be a source of trouble for anyone under any circumstance. So if we really want to be in that position, then we have to take up devotional service. Because otherwise each of us is troubling each other, no? Some way or the other. We may know it or we may not know it, knowingly or unknowingly. There's so many even entities that we disregard. We can't know how our actions are being hurting another. So what is Lord Chaitanya saying? What is Lord Chaitanya saying? That do we need to have any prior qualification, or do we need to do any process before we take up devotional service?
No.
Yeah, no, we don't need. Nothing external is needed. And yeah. And what is Lord Chaitanya saying? How can one reach the Vaikuntha planets?
By hearing and chanting.
Yes, that's right. By devotional service, which begins by hearing and chanting. That's right. Thank you. Continue.
Chapter 13, Devotional Service in Attachment. Next, Lord Caitanya said to Sanatana Gosvāmī, thus far I have explained devotional service according to regulative principles. Now I shall explain devotional service to you in terms of transcendental attachment.
So, sadhana bhakti is Vaidhi bhakti and Raganuga bhakti. Vaidhi bhakti means rules and regulations. We may not feel like doing it, but we just do it, right? Because we are told to, that it's good. We have no attachment to doing it, but we do it because the authorities are telling us we need to do, we need to hear, we need to chant, we need to worship the deity. Whatever we are doing, that's Vaidhi bhakti. Now there is sadhana bhakti has two kinds. One is Vaidhi bhakti, which follows rules and regulations. Another is out of attachment. That's the Raganuga bhakti. So then we continue to read.
The inhabitants of Vrindavana, Rajabhumi, are living examples of devotional service. Theirs is ideal devotional service with attachment, and such devotion cannot be found anywhere except Vrindavan. Developing devotional service and attachment by following in the footsteps of Vrajavasis is called Raga Marga Bhakti, or devotional service in pursuance of attachment to the Lord. According to the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1.2.272, the ecstatic attachment for the Lord experienced in the course of devotional service that is natural for the devotee is called raga, or transcendental attachment. The devotional service discharged with such deep attachment with consequent deep absorption in object of love is called ragatmika. Examples of such devotional service can be seen in activities of the residents of Rajabhumi. One who becomes attracted to Krishna by hearing of such attachment is certainly very fortunate. When one becomes deeply affected by the devotion of the residents of Rajabhumi and tries to follow in their footsteps, he does not care for the restrictions or regulations of revealed scripture. This is characteristic of one discharging Raga Bhakti.
So Raga Bhakti is where that attachment is already developed. The intense desire to please Krishna, the intense desire to engage in devotional service, to hear, to chant, to remember. That attachment is there. Not that, oh, I have to do it, oh my God, I better do it because it's good for me. No, that is Raganuga Bhakti or Raga Bhakti. That is following in the footsteps of one of the Brajbasi. The Brajbasi, they are Ragatmika Bhaktas. Ragatmika. But one can follow them. These is very high stages of spiritual life. And it needs really expert guidance from a spiritual master. One needs to get permission from the spiritual master that is he qualified to do it and how to properly do it, because otherwise, if we try to do it on a neophyte platform, then we are just creating havoc in our own spiritual life. So outwardly, the devotee still follows the rules and regulations, but inwardly, he is performing this, his bhakti is out of attachment, out of love. But outwardly, yes, he's following all the rules and regulations, what he needs to do. He's not required to, but he sets the standard because other people may misuse it or take advantage of it. So just to set the example and so that people don't misuse it, outwardly, they don't show that.
Devotional service with attachment is natural, and one who has been attracted by it does not care for any arguments against his conviction, even though such arguments may be presented according to scriptural injunctions. The natural inclination to devotional service with attachment is also based on scriptural injunction, and thus one has attachment for such devotional service is not required to give it up simply on the strength of scriptural argument. In this connection, we should note the class of so-called devotees known as Prakrita Sahajiyas follow their own concocted ideas and representing themselves as Krishna and Radha indulge in debauchery. Such devotional service with attachment is false, and those so engaged are actually gliding down a hellish path. This is not the standard of Raga Nika Bhakti or devotional service with attachment. The Prakrita Sahajiya community is actually cheated and very unfortunate.
So we may, because we want to get some name, fame, adoration, worship, we may not be on that platform, but we may pretend that we are on that platform and pretend that, oh, I'm meeting with Krishna, or I'm Krishna, or I'm meeting with the gopis. And we may, in fact, indulge in activities which are not recommended. And, then that's very harmful for our own future. And so that's the reason that it should be done under so much care with so much supervision of the advanced devotees.
Devotional service with attachment can be executed in two ways, externally and internally. Externally, the devotee strictly follows the regulative principles, beginning with chanting and hearing, while internally he thinks of the attachment which attracts him to serve the Supreme Lord. Indeed, he always thinks of his special devotional service and attachment. Such a real devotee's attachment does not violate the regulative principles of devotional service, and he adheres to them strictly. Yet within his mind, he always thinks of his particular attachment.
So Rupa Goswami speaks quite a bit about this in Nectar of Devotion. That one may be attracted to Rupa Manjari, and Rupa Manjari's service is to offer betel nuts to the divine couple. So externally, the devotee is hearing and chanting, doing whatever they need to do, but internally in the heart, they are following Rupa Manjari, because in the spiritual world, in Golok Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari, and she has that special service. So someone may have that inclination that they are assistants to Rupa Manjari. No one can become Rupa Manjari. We cannot become anyone else. We just have to realize who we are. So, yeah, so internally, the devotee, he has this attachment to a particular service, which is his service in the spiritual world. So, yeah.
All the inhabitants of Rajabhumi are very dear to Krishna. A devotee selects one of them and follows in his footsteps in order to be successful in his own devotional service. A pure devotee discharging devotional service with attachment always follows in the footsteps of a personality of Rajabhumi. It is advised in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.294 that such a pure devotee should always remember the activities of particular inhabitant of Vraja, even though he is not able to live in Vraja. In this way, he can always think of Vraja.
So he follows this Raganuga Bhakta. He follows the footsteps of the Brajavasi. Internally, it's only internally, not externally. It's all internal. Externally, he's hearing, chanting, worshipping the deity, offering prayers, doing all the items of Vedi Bhakti. But internally, this attachment is there, and he's following from his heart and a Brajavasi. Is that okay? Are there any questions or comments on this, what we are reading?
No, it's just beautiful. I mean, wow. First, they're talking about 9 processes of devotional service, and then they say, just hear and chant. It's like amazing. Even just, controlling yourself and your sense of control of mind. I mean, it's enough. Just keep Lord Krishna to your center. I mean, wow. It's just importance of Lord Krishna. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, just reading about Krishna is a blessing. It's beautiful. You feel so protected and blessed. Yeah,
Chant,
it's beautiful.
chant.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Such confidential devotees are divided into several categories. Some of them are servants, some are friends, some are parents, and some are conjugal lovers. In devotional service with attachment, one has to follow a particular type of devotee, Rajabhumi. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.38, the Lord says, न करहिचिन मत पराह शांत रूपे नक्षांति नो मे अनिजमिशो लेधि हेति येषाम अहम प्रिय आत्मा श्रुतश्च सखा guru surdo devam ishtam. The word matapara is used only to refer to persons who are satisfied with the idea of becoming my adherents alone. They consider that I am their soul, I am their friend, I am their son, I am their master, I am their well-wisher, I am their God, and I am their supreme goal. My dear mother, time does not act on such devotees. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.308, Rupa Goswami offers his respectful obeisances to those who always think of Krishna as son, well-wisher, brother, father, friend, and so on. Whoever adheres to the principles of devotional service with attachment, following the footsteps of a particular devotee, or following in the footsteps of devotee of Brajabhumi, certainly attains the highest perfection of love of Godhead in that spirit.
So Lord Chaitanya is citing evidence again from Bhagavatam. You can see that, how much he's always giving evidence. And so the Lord is saying these words in Canto 3, chapter 25. Matpara. Matpara. Only Krishna's devotees, they completely accept Krishna as their shelter. That's it. I am their soul. I am their friend. I am their son. I am their master. I am their well-wisher. I am their God, and I am the supreme goal. My dear mother, time does not act on such devotees. So this is a devotee who's completely surrendered at the lotus feet of Krishna. Matpara. Completely surrendered. No other shelter except Krishna. Krishna, you are my soul. Krishna, you are my friend. Krishna, you are my son. Krishna, you are my master. Krishna, you are my well-wisher. Krishna, you are my God. Krishna, you are my supreme goal. Krishna is saying, because time is, of course, eternal, no? Time does not act on the spirit soul. And this is the position of every soul, actually. All pure souls are at this position. Simply, we have forgotten it. That's it. We have forgotten it. And here, what Caitanya is saying, that the confidential devotees now, relationship, no? Each soul has a relationship with Krishna. Some as servant, friend, parent, conjugal lovers. So in Raganuga Bhakti, then if somebody is in a servant mode, then they will follow one of the servants of Krishna in Rajabhumi. If somebody is in a Sakya mode, friendship, then the devotee will follow, let's say, Madhumangal or Sridham, Subal, one of the friends of Krishna. Some as parents, so then someone may become like, oh, we want to become assistants of Yashoda Mai or Nanda Maharaj, like that. Or conjugal lovers, then the assistants of the gopis or the assistants of the manjaris. So this is how Raganuga Bhakti is performed internally. Externally, hearing and chanting is going on. And then Rupa Goswami is saying in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that he is offering his obeisances to such a devotee that he who is performing this Raganuga Bhakti adheres to the principles of devotional service with attachment, following in the footsteps of a particular devotee of Rajbhumi. So Rupa Goswami is saying he offers obeisances, and one who is engaging in Raganuga Bhakti, in Raga Bhakti, is surely going to revive his love for Krishna. Krishna Prema, you'll surely reach that supreme goal of life. So we'll stop here for today. Are there any other questions or comments?
No, all good.
Okay. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you so much for listening and enjoying.